10 out of 10 Nintendo Switch games you must play before you die. To compile this list, we selected only one game from a single series, one Zelda game, one Mario game, and one Pokemon game, and selected the titles that best represented each series. This resulted in a balanced list that offers both variety and showcases the 20 most powerful games on the Switch. Let's start with the first game on our list. One of Nintendo's greatest revolutions, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, completely transformed how we view open-world design. A hidden discovery, a puzzle to solve, or a challenge awaits in every corner of the map. The game's freedom is so vast that every action, from climbing mountains to soaring through the sky, is at the player's discretion. Physics-based interactions, weather-altering gameplay, and creative combat systems transform even ordinary exploration into a surprising experience. Nintendo's attention to detail, combined with the game's art design and atmosphere, creates a masterpiece that pushes boundaries. For many players, it's not just a game, but one of the most important experiences of all time.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one, to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality, right now.
Don't raise dragons right off the bat. For new players, at the start of the game, don't rush to raise dragons. You might get a powerful dragon at the beginning, but early resources are limited, and raising dragons consumes a lot of resources, which will slow down your economic development. As the game progresses, the enemy's attack speed will gradually increase. The dragon's bonus will not be sufficient to support you and help you in the game. Therefore, I suggest new players start by building watchtowers. Your archers stationed in the watchtowers can shoot enemies from afar.
Super Mario Odyssey stands out as one of Nintendo's most creative platforming experiences. Mario's ability to transform into different creatures by throwing his hat adds a completely new dimension to the series. Each region is designed like a small world, with its own culture and gameplay mechanics. From the frozen town in the middle of the desert to the modern streets of New Donk City, each area holds unique surprises. Hundreds of power moons to collect constantly encourage players to explore new paths. Its structure, combining the nostalgia of old Mario games with modern design, maintains a spirit that is both true to the series and innovative. This pushes the boundaries of the platforming genre and offers a unique adventure for players of all ages. Metroid Prime Remastered is one of the most intensely immersive sci-fi games ever. Its first-person, exploration-focused gameplay brings the classic Metroid formula to a 3D universe. Traversing alien planets, scanning the environment, and searching for secrets from inside Samus Aran's armor creates a profound sense of discovery. Each new weapon, shield, or ability is used not only in combat, but also to access previously inaccessible areas. This creates a constant sense of curiosity and progression. The revamped visuals and modernized controls ensure a seamless experience that remains relevant today. This game, easily accessible even to those unfamiliar with the series, is considered one of the strongest additions to the Switch library. With its massive world and deep story, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is one of the strongest representatives of the JRPG genre. The story, which begins with the intersection of soldiers from two opposing nations, transcends political conflicts, and delves into existential themes. The sheer size and vibrant open spaces constantly offer players new reasons to explore. The combat system combines real-time action with strategic commands, and thanks to the 6-player party management, each character's role is crucial. Character development, side quests, and interconnected storylines provide hundreds of hours of content. The voice acting, music, and visual design combine to create an epic atmosphere. This richness creates a JRPG experience that pushes the Switch's technical limits. Animal Crossing New Horizons is one of the most relaxing games that gives players the freedom to create their own rhythm of life. Your adventure begins on a deserted island and gradually transforms into a settlement entirely your own. You build your own home, design furnishings, build relationships with neighbors, and shape the island to your heart's content. With changing seasons, special events, and real-time progression, you'll encounter a new surprise every day. Its calming soundtrack and sweet visuals create a peaceful atmosphere for those seeking an escape from the stresses of daily life. The connections formed with the community and the sharing of creativity between players transform the game from a mere life simulation into a social experience. Fire Emblem. Three Houses is one of the most ambitious games to integrate strategy RPG with storytelling.
Oh,
The
thanks
player
for the
chooses
likes.
one of 3 different houses and is
Welcome.
thrust into the midst of political
And it's a
conflicts.
week.
A
Late night
choice that
stream.
determines who will be friend and who will be enemy.
We finished the line
The
artwork and
journey
I made
that begins in the academy
another drawing.
gradually evolves into a battlefield where the students decide their fate. The tile-based
Special version
combat
of your-
system creates tension where
It's going
every
good.
move
How are you doing?
carries profound consequences. The
I
characters'
did a your
personal stories
version
and the
of
relationships between them
Hornet.
make the combat not only tactical but also emotionally intense. With its diverse paths, dramatic turning points, and striking endings,
I'll be posting
the
that
game
soon.
stands out as the most comprehensive and profound installment in the series.
Weak.
Bayonetta 3 is considered a pinnacle
Thank
of
you so
action
much.
because its stylized fighting
Thanks for the
mechanics
follow.
offer
Appreciate that.
incredible freedom. The player can chain together each
Just
attack
joined
to
my
create their
live.
own rhythm, ensuring that combat never feels monotonous. The
Okay.
massive creatures Bayonetta summons from hell create a visual storm on the screen while also requiring strategic
Thanks for
use.
the likes. Appreciate
The
that.
addition of new character Viola further deepens the system with
Okay.
diverse weaponry and tempo changes.
Have
The
fun.
stage designs constantly innovate. One level finds you in a modern city, the next immersed in interdimensional chaos. This variety keeps the game's
Make it
tempo
bigger or smaller?
constantly high.
Sorry.
The action approach that Platinum Games has
What?
cultivated over the years reaches its most mature
Expand.
state here, creating a structure that can be considered the pinnacle of the genre.
Okay. Okay. There we go. That one's done. Thanks for the follow, appreciate that. Just skip these ads. Okay.
Octopath Traveler 2 reimagines the classic JRPG style with its own unique style. 8 characters' stories unfold individually, each offering unique motivations, abilities, and paths. This structure allows the player to explore a vast world from different perspectives. The HD 2D graphical style combines retro pixel art with vibrant colors and detailed environments to create a visually unique atmosphere. The turn-based combat system, with mechanics like break and boost, heightens the importance of strategic decisions, transforming each encounter into a demanding challenge. Characters' special abilities open up new avenues for exploration, adding variety to the gameplay. With both its visuals and depth, it serves as a compelling example of why the JRPG genre continues to excel. Pokémon Legends Arceus stands out with its structure that takes the series in a new direction. Players freely roam vast areas, observing Pokémon, pursuing them, and choosing their own paths to capture them. Whether they choose to hide, throw a ball at the right moment, or test their strength through combat, the player's choice is entirely up to them. The turn-based combat system offers a more fluid pace, and different styles add variety to the strategy. The story focuses on the history of the Sinnoh region, establishing a strong connection to the universe's origins. When these elements come together, the result is a game that pushes the boundaries of the series and offers players a Pokémon experience unlike any they've experienced before. Monster Hunter Rise is one of the games that perfectly delivers massive monster hunts on Switch. Players choose from a variety of weapon classes, tailoring their own playstyle to each hunt. Each weapon requires a distinct fighting style and strategy, significantly increasing the game's replayability. Companion dogs, called Palamutes, provide both combat support and swift movement around the map. The areas the hunts traverse feel more dynamic than in previous games, thanks to vertical movement and climbing mechanics. The monster's behavior, attack patterns, and strength make each encounter a unique challenge. A progression system encourages players to continually craft more powerful equipment over time, creating a cycle that demands patience and mastery. Hollow Knight stands out among indie games for its depth and
Let's speak
atmosphere.
of the devil.
The player explores a world filled with dark tunnels, vast halls, and
As a
secret
American-
passages in the abandoned kingdom of Hallownest. The combat system appears simple, but its demanding reflexes, timing, and patience transform each encounter into an intense challenge. The gradual unfolding of the map allows you to enter previously inaccessible areas as you gain new abilities. With its silent narrative, environmental clues, and visual design, the game conveys a powerful story without needing words. By combining both difficulty and a sense of discovery, it has become a memorable game that can be returned to again and again. Celeste is a platform game that appears simple, yet stands out for its depth. The mountain you're trying to climb isn't just a physical obstacle, it also symbolizes the character's inner struggle. Each level challenges the player by expertly introducing new mechanics, testing reflexes down to the smallest detail. Despite the pixelated visual style, the fluidity of the animations and precision of the controls feel impeccable. The difficulty of the gameplay, combined with the music and atmosphere, creates an experience that demands intense focus. Its sometimes demanding nature upon completion leaves the player with the satisfaction of not just beating a game, but overcoming a personal obstacle. Luigi's Mansion 3 offers a unique adventure that blends ghost hunting with humor and puzzles. As Luigi tries to find his lost friends in a large hotel, he encounters a completely different theme on each floor. Stage designs range from a theater to a pyramid tomb, and each one surprises the player with new puzzle ideas. The Poltergust, a broomstick, allows you to interact with the environment and fight ghosts. The newly added Guigi character allows for cooperative play in two-player or offers a new way to solve puzzles in single-player. Fun animations and intricately detailed environments elevate the game from a mere spin-off series to one of Nintendo's most beloved titles.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG in which
Thanks
you
for following
write your
me.
own
Appreciate
story
that.
instead of following a laid-out path. Explore a vast open world, Everything you do has an impact on Albion's player-driven economy. Every piece of equipment is crafted by players from resources gathered by players. The equipment you wear defines who you are. Switching from knight to magician is as easy as swapping your armor and weapon, or be a combination of the two. Venture deep inside dungeons on your own or with a group of companions. Explore realms beyond Albion, teeming with treasures and resources. But beware of dangers lurking in the shadows. Relax by retreating to your personal island, where you can build a home, grow crops, and raise animals. Grab a fishing pole and head for Albion's rivers, lakes, and oceans. Join a guild, play together, take part in massive player versus...
Astral Chain stands out with its unique approach to the action genre. As a member of a special police unit, the player fights both criminals and creatures from another dimension. The combat system is based on controlling entities called chains alongside the character. Simultaneously controlling both the main character and Legion demands quick reflexes and strategic thinking from the player. This dual structure allows for chaining attacks, neutralizing enemies, and interacting with the environment in different ways. Investigation sections in the city increase the variety of missions and add a detective flavor to the story. With its visual style and fast-paced gameplay, Astral Chain stands out as one of the most striking action games available on Switch. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the most refined examples of the 2D platformer genre. Nintendo's storied series combines challenging gameplay with flawless control.
Welcome.
Each level explores a unique
Thanks for
concept,
the likes,
from
appreciate that.
slippery ice-covered terrain
Thanks for the
to
follow.
erupting volcanoes, from underwater caves to wild minecart rides. The variety never diminishes. Switching between characters allows you to utilize different abilities, opening up new avenues for both puzzle solving and platforming. The fast-paced soundtrack and vibrant visual design make each scene memorable. The difficulty escalates evenly, creating an experience that demands both patience and skill. For platformers, this game is considered a prime example of the power of classic design.
Welcome. Yeah, we're working on a Hornet in my style. Also, I did
Shin
a
Megami
crossover
Tensei 5 holds
with
a unique
your
place in the
Fogre
JRPG
from
genre with its
Spy
dark
X family,
atmosphere
because
and
they kind of a
turn-based
similar
combat
weapon.
system. The player
I'll be
finds
posting
themselves
both
in
of
an
those.
alternate world filled with demons amidst the ruins of Tokyo. Battles are determined not only by your own strength, but also by the demons you recruit. Negotiating and persuading these demons, then evolving and combining them to create new forms, constitutes the game's core mechanic. Identifying your opponent's weaknesses and attacking with the right moves turns battles into strategic chess games. The atmosphere, music, and design ratchet up the tension at every turn. While remaining true to the series' roots, it has cultivated a dedicated fan base by offering one of the most powerful and comprehensive role-playing experiences on Switch. Cuphead truly sets itself apart from other games with its hand-drawn animations and relentless difficulty. The 1930s cartoon aesthetic gives the game a visual identity that's both nostalgic and unique. Behind the cutesy exterior, however, lies intense boss fights that test reflexes. Each enemy keeps the player on their toes with different attack patterns and phases. This structure, combined with the platforming elements, makes even the smallest mistake costly, making every victory all the more satisfying. The seamless feel of the gameplay keeps the learning curve balanced, and patience and attention are rewarded. With its visual style, soundtrack, and level of difficulty, Cuphead stands as a prime example of how classic game design can be creatively modernized. Kirby and the Forgotten Land breathes new life into the series by transporting it to a fully 3D world. The player controls Kirby, a character whose adorable appearance belies incredibly flexible abilities. Absorbing enemies and copying their powers allows for different gameplay styles in each level. the newly added Mouthful mode allows you to transform into various objects, from cars to vending machines, opening the door to fun and creative puzzles. Level designs are exploration-focused, while hidden areas and collectibles encourage caution. With its colorful visual style and fluid gameplay, the game strikes a powerful balance between series newcomers and longtime fans. It stands out as the most comprehensive and satisfying adventure yet created in the Kirby universe.
Thanks for the likes. Thanks for
Persona
the follow.
5 Royal
Appreciate
is
that.
a game that combines ordinary high school life with the most complex moral conflicts. At its heart is a secret resistance movement against a corrupt society. Character development unfolds during the day through classes, friendships, and social bonds, while at night, the fight for justice unfolds in the underworld. This dual structure creates an unparalleled depth in the game world. The combat system is based on finding opponents' weaknesses and exploiting them with chained moves, rewarding strategic thinking. Levels, called palaces, are the mental labyrinths of corrupt individuals, each reflecting a distinct psychological theme. This is why Persona 5 Royal is considered a game not just for playing, but for experiencing.
I started that game, but I didn't finish it. So I gotta check out more of that Persona.
Pikmin 4 is one of Nintendo's most distinctive games, combining strategy and exploration. You manage Pikmin, tiny alien plants, to battle giant insects, overcome obstacles, and gather resources. Each Pikmin species possesses unique abilities, constantly challenging the player to find the right combinations. Reds are fire-resistant, blues can move through water, and yellows interact with electricity. This diversity requires different solutions in each level. The addition of a canine companion, Ochi, not only supports combat, but also makes exploration more fluid. While seemingly a small-scale adventure, the game actually offers a deep structure that challenges intelligence, planning, and time management. This makes Pikmin 4 stand out as one of Nintendo's most powerful displays of creativity.
I didn't mean to check out Pikmin. It's a very good game too.
We conclude our list here. These games, each a masterpiece in their respective genres, demonstrate why the Nintendo Switch is one of the most
Thanks for the
unique
likes. Appreciate
consoles in
that.
gaming history. We've compiled this list by selecting the strongest representatives from diverse franchises, from Mario and Zelda to RPGs and action adventures. Share your own favorites in the comments. See you in the next video, and bye.
Hello, do you make commissions? I do take commissions. Thanks for likes. Just DM me, follow me on Instagram, sure, and DM me. But yeah, I take commissions. As long as you're okay with the waiting time. Thanks for likes, appreciate that.
Kanto is where it all began. The very first region introduced the world to creatures that have since become cultural icons, sparking stories, adventures, and friendships across generations. Each one has its own history, abilities, and role in shaping how people experience
Thanks for
the
the likes.
games,
Appreciate that.
the anime, and even trading cards. In this journey, we will look closely at some of the most notable Pokemon from this region, not the strongest or rarest alone, but the ones that left an impression on players everywhere. From starters that defined childhood choices to legends hidden in caves and skies, each creature has something worth remembering. So let your thoughts drift as we wander through Kanto's most memorable figures. Before the world knew the names of Pikachu, Bulbasaur, or even the concept of catching creatures, the foundation of the Kanto region was being shaped in
Thanks for
the
sharing the live.
offices of a
Appreciate that.
small game studio called Game Freak. In the late 1980s, Satoshi Tajiri and Ken Sugimori were working on what seemed like an impossible dream, a game about trading and collecting creatures that lived inside a virtual world. At the time, Game Freak was far from the powerhouse it is today. It was a tiny team filled with young creators who poured their passion into every pixel, even while facing financial struggles and technical limitations. The inspiration for the concept came from Tajiri's childhood experiences catching insects. He imagined a world where kids could connect their handheld devices and trade creatures with each other, just like he once exchanged beetles with friends. This simple idea of connection would
Pretty
grow
cool
into
idea.
the backbone of Pokemon, but the technology of the original Game Boy was extremely limited. The cartridges had little memory, and the system's link cable, which would later become iconic, was not even being used by many developers at the time. The Game Freak team decided to build their idea around that cable,
I remember my cousin
even
got a
though it was
link cable.
risky because it
That was
matched
like the
perfectly
coolest thing
with their
ever.
vision.
And we actually
Development of the
traded
games,
Pokemon stuff.
which would become Pokemon Red and Green, stretched for
That was
6
the
long
link cable.
years. This was
You physically had to
unusual for the
connect
time, as most Game Boy
the
titles
cable.
were made in a fraction of that time.
Then we got
The
like, you
small
know,
team constantly
local
hit
80
walls, whether it
or
was running
whatever.
out of cartridge space, designing new sprites, or creating mechanics that hadn't been attempted before. Sugimori, who handled most of the artwork, had to draw, refine, and finalize the designs of all 151 Pokemon almost entirely by himself, with only a few assistants helping along the way. The pixel limitations of the Game Boy forced him to simplify designs, which in turn gave Pokemon their distinct and iconic look. One fascinating detail about the Kanto development is that many of the Pokemon players know today were almost cut from the games. Space was so tight that every sprite, every move, and every sound effect had to be carefully considered. For example, some creatures were shifted around late in development, which is why the order of the Pokédex sometimes feels unusual. The famous missing no glitch also came directly from these memory constraints, as unused data in the cartridge created unintended outcomes when the game tried to reference non-existent Pokemon entries.
Contractors, are you covered? Zensurance policy starting at only $19 per month. Get a certificate of insurance in no time. Over 500,000 Canadian small businesses served.
When Red and Green finally released in Japan in 1996, no one expected them to become a cultural phenomenon. At first, sales were modest, but as word spread and players discovered the excitement of trading and battling, the games exploded in popularity. The addition of a secret Pokemon, Mew, only added fuel to the fire. Players were convinced the games contained hidden mysteries, and the idea of finding something beyond what was shown on the surface became part of the Pokemon identity. Interestingly, when it came time to bring the games overseas, things changed. In Japan, Red and Green were the originals, but for the international release, Nintendo chose Red and Blue. Blue had been released in Japan later, as a refined version with updated sprites and fixed bugs, and it was considered more polished. This meant that many fans around the world grew up with Red and Blue as the first Pokemon games, even though Green technically came first. The choice also explains why certain differences in sprites and designs exist between regions. The later release of Pokemon Yellow added another layer to Kanto's development. By this point, the anime had become hugely popular, and Pikachu was a global icon. Yellow was designed to tie the games more closely to the show, giving players a partner Pikachu that followed them around and recreating encounters with characters like Jessie and James. This blending of the anime and the games showed just how flexible the Kanto Foundation was, capable of being reshaped to fit different audiences and media. Beyond the technical and cultural aspects, the Kanto development cycle revealed how much determination went into bringing Pokemon to life. The team worked on shoestring budgets, often unsure if the game would even be finished. Nintendo itself was skeptical at first, but Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and Zelda, saw potential in the idea of connectivity and helped guide Game Freak in refining their vision. Without his support, the series may never have launched. The design of Kanto itself, the map that players explore, also reflects these limitations and innovations. Many of the towns are small and simple, often consisting of just a few buildings. The caves and routes, while memorable, are straightforward compared to later regions. Yet, this simplicity became part of the charm. Each location felt distinct, from the eerie Lavender Town to the bustling Saffron City. Even with hardware constraints, the team managed to create an entire world that felt alive and worth exploring. One last fact that often surprises fans is that Kanto was not originally meant to stand alone. Early concept art suggested that multiple regions were considered, but due to time and memory restrictions, only one could be fully realized. That's why later games introduced Johto, Hoenn, and beyond. In a sense, Kanto was both a complete adventure and a stepping stone for something much bigger. Looking back now, it's hard to imagine the risks involved in creating those first games. The idea of trading monsters through a cable could have easily been dismissed as too niche or too ambitious. Yet the persistence of a small group of developers brought it to life, shaping not only a region, but a franchise that would define generations of players. The story of Kanto's development is as much about passion and perseverance as it is about pixels and programming. It's a reminder that even the most groundbreaking ideas often start with a small team chasing a dream, unsure if anyone else will ever see what they see. When players first stepped into the Kanto region, one of the earliest and most memorable choices they ever made was between three small creatures. That single decision shaped the rest of the journey and, for many fans, defined the way they experienced the games. These three starters are remembered not only for their gameplay value, but also for the emotions, stories, and sense of identity they gave to each trainer. The first of the trio was the little grass and poison type, Bulbasaur. With a seed on its back that slowly grew into a plant as it matured, it was unlike anything seen in other games at the time. The concept of a living creature fused with a plant caught the imagination of players.
Huh?
For many, Bulbasaur represented an easy entry into the world of battles. Its typing gave it an advantage over the first two gym leaders, making early progress less stressful for new trainers. Because of that, Some have called it the beginner's starter, but that description does not fully capture its appeal. There was something calm and balanced about its design, frog-like features, combined with the seed sprouting into a bulb that carried a sense of harmony with nature, even though it was often overshadowed by its more dramatic companions. It remained a loyal, dependable choice. Over the years, players who chose Bulbasaur often formed a unique bond, one rooted in quiet strength and patience rather than fiery spectacle. Then there was Charmander, the fire starter. Choosing it often meant signing up for a difficult road ahead. The early gym leaders in Kanto specialized in rock and water, types that posed immediate problems for the little lizard. Many young trainers learned frustration and perseverance through these early struggles. Yet, because of that challenge, victories felt all the sweeter. The flame on its tail carried a special lore said to represent its life force, with the implication that if it ever went out, the creature would perish. This single detail gave it an aura of fragility and drama that captured imaginations everywhere. The anime amplified this, showing moments where the small lizard suffered in the rain, its survival tied directly to the tiny fire burning at the end of its tail. Those stories cemented it as more than just another starter. It became a symbol of determination, passion, and resilience. Eventually, when it grew into its final evolution, it became one of the most iconic figures in the entire franchise. But even in its smallest form, it carried with it the promise of greatness. And then came Squirtle, the water type, a small turtle with a round body and playful expression. For many, it felt like the most balanced option, neither too difficult to raise nor too easy. Its shell gave it natural defenses, making it a reliable companion in the early game. Beyond the battles, Squirtle captured hearts through its personality in the anime. The version that wore sunglasses and led a mischievous gang became a fan favorite, giving the creature a blend of toughness and comedy that set it apart. In the games, its evolution line brought it to a towering form armed with water cannons, a design that fascinated players and highlighted the imaginative creativity of the series. Squirtle represented dependability, a starter that never left its trainer stranded, always ready to push forward through whatever challenges the region presented. What tied these three together was not simply their roles in gameplay, but the way they forced players to make a choice that felt deeply personal. Picking one meant giving up the other two, at least until trades became possible. That sacrifice made the decision feel heavier, more meaningful. Many players still remember sitting in front of the screen, agonizing over which to pick, knowing that this little creature would be their partner for countless hours. That emotional weight is part of what made Kanto so unforgettable. It was never just about battling or leveling up. It was about choosing a companion, forming a bond, and growing together. The designs of the trio also reflected a simple but effective balance. One represented the calm persistence of nature, another the fiery drive of ambition, and the last the steady reliability of water. Together, they embodied the elemental triangle that defined not just Kanto, but the entire philosophy of the series. The rivalry among them carried into playground arguments, trading card collections, and debates that still linger decades later. Players would proudly declare themselves fans of one starter above all others, and that loyalty often stayed with them through every generation. Even today, as new regions and new starters are introduced, the first trio continues to hold a special place in the hearts of fans. Their appearances in later games, remakes, and adaptations remind people of the beginnings of their journey. Whenever someone
understandable.
looks back at their
It's
early
like we don't want to deal
steps
with
into
that,
the
so
Pokemon
before we
world,
cards at school.
the image of choosing between Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle comes back instantly, like a cherished childhood memory.
My name is Zachary Lucky. I'm a songwriter from Ontario, Canada. A few months ago, I was getting back from tour, arriving at the Toronto airport. I went to collect my luggage and my tote bins.
In a way, these three were more than just options on a screen. They were the foundation of an entire cultural phenomenon. They taught strategy, perseverance, and choice. They carried symbolism and charm that reached beyond the games themselves. And most importantly, they sparked a sense of adventure that has lasted for generations. For some, that first choice is still remembered decades later, not because of stats or mechanics, but because of the bond that was formed from the very start. Among all the creatures introduced in Kanto, there were two that stood apart from the starter trio, not because they were chosen in Professor Oak's lab, but because of the way they captured imaginations worldwide. Pikachu and Eevee were never meant to be rivals in the same way as the first three choices, yet both became icons of what it meant to be a Pokemon trainer. Their charm, adaptability, and presence in countless games and stories turned them into symbols that still resonate with fans to this day. Pikachu, the small yellow electric mouse, began as just another entry in the early Pokédex. In the original games, it was a creature found in Viridian Forest, often hard to encounter due to its low appearance rate. Its stats were not particularly overwhelming, its moveset simple, and yet it became the single most recognizable face of the entire franchise. The reason for this transformation was largely due to the anime, where Pikachu was chosen as the partner of the main character. That decision turned a fairly ordinary creature into the mascot of a global phenomenon. The image of its red cheeks sparking with electricity, paired with its cheerful cry, became ingrained in popular culture almost overnight. But beyond the marketing and recognition, Pikachu symbolized something more. In the anime, it resisted being confined to a Pokeball, a detail that set it apart from nearly every other Pokemon. Instead, it walked beside its trainer, turning their partnership into something more personal. That one choice gave children everywhere a different view of what it meant to have a companion more like a pet or friend than simply a battling tool. Over time, this bond resonated deeply with viewers, making Pikachu feel less like a character and more like an ideal friend. Even players who didn't choose it in the games found themselves forming emotional connections to its presence across the franchise. The creature also represented adaptability. Over the years, it has learned countless special moves, received unique forms in spin-offs, and even gained regional variations through evolutions like Alolan Raichu. It is at once familiar and surprising, always showing up in new ways, but never losing the traits that made it lovable in the first place. That balance between comfort and reinvention is a key reason why it continues to endure. On the other side was Eevee, a creature that may not have had the same spotlight at first, but quietly became one of the most beloved Pokemon in the series. At first glance, it seemed simple, small, fox-like, with fluffy fur and a gentle face. Yet what set it apart was its unique evolutionary potential. In the early days, it had 3 different evolutionary paths, each tied to an elemental stone. Trainers could choose whether to transform it into a water, fire, or electric type, giving it a flexibility that no other Pokemon had. This mechanic fascinated players. It felt as though Eevee embodied choice itself, reflecting a player's personal preference in a tangible way. As the series continued, Eevee's evolutionary paths expanded, eventually including Psychic, Dark, grass, ice, fairy, and more. Each form carried its own aesthetic, strategy,
Leafeon's dope.
and personality, making
Leafeon's
Eevee
pretty
not
cool.
just one creature, but a gateway to a family of possibilities. For players, it became a mirror of individuality. Whatever you wanted it to be, it could become. That made it one of the most relatable and customizable companions in the franchise. Its popularity grew steadily, and over time, it became recognized as the counterpart
I still
to
haven't
Pikachu.
opened any prismatic.
This was emphasized in the release of Pokemon
Fortunately.
Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, where
Everywhere
the
it
two
goes, super
mascots were
expensive.
placed
Or
side
always
by
sold
side
out.
as equally iconic options. In those games,
Damn, thank
Eevee
you.
was given special moves and recognition that elevated it beyond just another beloved Pokemon.
There are a lot of things about Desjardins that might surprise you.
Has
We're
anyone opened
financially
prismatic
empowering
evolutions?
7.8.
It became
Anyone opened prismatic evolution? I've not. This day.
a mascot in its own right, not replacing Pikachu, but standing
I
proudly
used to pay
alongside
like
it.
30 bucks
Together,
for a pack.
Pikachu and Eevee represent two sides of what makes the franchise special. Pikachu embodies familiarity and recognition, the universal face that almost anyone in the world can recognize even without ever playing the games.
Thank you. The
Eevee,
son of
on the
guy.
other hand,
Is
embodies
that guy from
flexibility
Naruto?
and personal choice, an open-ended creature that reflects the individuality of every trainer who raises it. One became a cultural icon, the other a
Alright, we got our
fan-favorite
base colors
symbol
now.
of customization and personal identity. The enduring popularity of both also speaks to their designs. They are approachable, cute, and immediately appealing to people of all ages. They strike a perfect balance between animal-like realism and imaginative fantasy. They are creatures that feel like they could exist in our own world, while still carrying the magic and uniqueness of a Pokemon. This blend of realism and fantasy
I did the
is one
string
of the
for
reasons
angles.
they endure long
Really?
after the initial wave of nostalgia. Looking back, it is fascinating how these two were never meant to be central figures in the same way as the original trio, yet ended up becoming pillars of the franchise. Their influence extends beyond games and shows, appearing on merchandise, clothing, and even as mascots for major events. They are faces that can instantly connect people to memories of childhood, to the joy of discovery, and to the comfort
Think about
of
the money. Think
familiarity.
about the power.
For many fans, Pikachu and Eevee
That's
are
too much
reminders that the
responsibility.
Pokemon world is not just about strength or battles. It is about
I don't want that
bonds,
responsibility.
choices, and the ways creatures can capture hearts in unexpected ways. Whether through the sparks of
Oh, it's on the wrong
electricity
layer. I was like,
lighting
why
up
is
a
this not working?
battlefield, or the quiet wonder of watching an Eevee transform into a form that feels uniquely yours, these Pokemon became timeless not because of power, but because of the feelings they inspire. And so, in the Kanto
Thanks for sharing
region,
that.
among a vast roster of memorable creatures, these two continue to shine as symbols of everything the franchise set out to be: imaginative, heartwarming, and endlessly enduring.
Just gonna save here
Among
real
the many
quick.
creatures introduced in Kanto, two stood out not for their strength in battle, but for their unique quirks that made them unforgettable. Jigglypuff and Psyduck quickly became symbols of humor and lightheartedness
Yes,
within the
they did.
franchise. They were not known for overwhelming moves or legendary status, but for the way their personalities resonated with fans across both the games and the anime. Jigglypuff, with its round, balloon-like body and large, expressive eyes, seemed innocent at first glance. Its singing ability was not meant to be intimidating in the traditional sense of combat. Instead, it lulled opponents to sleep. In battle, this had its practical uses. Putting an opponent to sleep could give a trainer a strategic edge, but what truly set this Pokemon apart was the way it was portrayed
Beautiful.
outside of battle. In the anime, It carried around a microphone that doubled as a marker, performing songs with the expectation of being applauded. Instead, listeners inevitably fell asleep, leaving it frustrated. In response, it would draw on their faces before storming off, a comedic routine that became one of the series' most beloved running gags. That personality turned Jigglypuff into more than just another entry in the Pokédex. It became a character that fans could laugh with and remember, one that added charm and unpredictability to every scene it appeared in. Despite never being the strongest fighter, its role as a performer made it iconic. The very idea that a creature could win hearts through song and stubbornness rather than raw power was a reminder that not all Pokémon were meant to be champions. Some were meant to entertain, to surprise, and to give the world something to smile about. Its design also played a role in this popularity. The pink, puffy shape made it look more like a toy or a plush than a fighter, yet it held a power that could end a battle in seconds. That contradiction, something so cute, carrying a move so frustrating, created a balance that players never forgot.
Hello, welcome.
Buttery, golden, flaky Ritz you love, now perfected for life on the move. Where you go, they go too. Ritz to go.
Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome. We're slowly working on this. Get save here real quick. I was wondering. There's also a your version of. Should be a minus.
For many, catching one in the original games was less
space.
About building a winning team
and
more about the novelty
Thank you so much.
of having
Appreciate
such
that.
a quirky partner. Where Jigglypuff was
I think,
playful
like,
and stubborn,
like to imagine
Psyduck embodied
your underneath
confusion.
there.
Its wide, vacant eyes and constant headache became defining traits, making it both comical
Little sneak
and
peek there for you
strangely
guys.
endearing. In
That's
the
who's behind
games,
the mask.
it often came
Lord.
across as a fairly standard water type, with moves that aligned with its
Right
theme.
now, we'll go back to
But in
Hornet.
the anime, it was portrayed as constantly overwhelmed by its own psychic powers. Its
I've been
headache
seeing a lot of
acted
people
as both a
combining
weekness
Hornet
and a
Yor
hidden
together.
strength.
Like, hey,
When the
let's do my
pain
version of
became
that too.
unbearable, it unleashed bursts of psychic energy that shocked both allies and enemies. This duality gave Psyduck a unique role. On the surface, it appeared clumsy and ineffective, often bumbling through situations without much awareness of what was happening. Yet hidden within that awkwardness was incredible potential. For fans, this made it relatable. Everyone has moments where they feel unsure or out of place, and Psyduck embodied that perfectly. It was the underdog, the creature no one expected to succeed, yet it carried a power that could change the outcome of a battle in an instant. Its comedic timing in the anime also helped solidify its popularity. Being constantly pulled out of its Pokeball by mistake or waddling into situations uninvited, it became a source of humor that balanced out more serious storylines. Where other creatures were portrayed as noble or fierce, Psyduck reminded viewers that sometimes being a little lost or clumsy could be just as memorable. Together, Jigglypuff and Psyduck highlighted the diversity of the Kanto roster. They were not legendary, they were not known for sheer strength, and yet they became some of the most recognizable faces of the early franchise. Their presence showed that Pokemon
I'm definitely gonna
could
change
be
the
more than
background
tools for victory.
later on. I'm gonna add a
They could be
background, but right now,
entertainers,
just like work on the
comedians,
character.
and
Yeah.
symbols of
There will be a
personality.
background for sure.
They added texture to the world, making it feel less like a competitive environment and more like a place filled with unique individuals,
Most
each with their own
definitely.
quirks. Their enduring presence in the franchise proves how beloved they are. Jigglypuff has reappeared in numerous games, even earning a spot in the Super Smash Bros. series, where its unassuming design hides surprising power. Psyduck continues to appear in modern titles, always carrying the same vacant expression that made it iconic from the start.
Yep.
Both remain favorites in merchandise, often chosen for plush toys, clothing, and other collectibles because of their approachable and humorous designs. For many fans, these two creatures represent the lighter side of Pokemon. They are reminders that the franchise is not just about legendary battles or dramatic rivalries, but also about the moments of laughter, surprise, and personality that come from unexpected places. They may not be remembered for dominating gyms or
Thanks for
standing
joining.
tall in
Appreciate that.
championship matches, but they are remembered for something just as important: the joy they brought to those who encountered them. As we move deeper into the Kanto region's lineup of memorable Pokemon, Jigglypuff and Psyduck stand as proof that sometimes the most enduring characters are not the strongest, but the ones that make us feel something. Whether it is laughter, amusement, or simply the comfort of seeing a familiar face, their legacy continues to ripple through the world of Pokemon. When talking about iconic duos from Kanto, few stand out more than Magikarp and Gyarados. Their relationship represents one of the most dramatic transformations in the entire Pokemon world.
When first I saw
on one side, you have a creature often dismissed as useless, and on the other, one of the most fearsome beings to ever appear in the region. Together, they symbolize patience, growth, and the surprising rewards of dedication. Magikarp has always been seen as one of the weakest creatures in the franchise. With little more than a weak splash to its name in the early stages, it became almost a running joke among players. Trainers would catch one only to find that it contributed little to battles, floundering around helplessly while stronger opponents overpowered it in seconds. The image of a tiny fish, barely able to fight back, stood in sharp contrast to the many powerful creatures available across the Kanto region. And yet, despite this reputation, Magikarp was never completely forgotten.
Adobe Stock Unlimited Plan. One powerful plan to meet your needs. Unlimited access to the largest growing creative library. Packed with diverse, high-impact content.
There was always...
Alrighty, it is getting late. Thank you for everyone who joined and been following. If you guys want to see more of the stuff and see the finished artwork and see the your version, make sure to follow me and like and subscribe. Also, links are in the bio. Follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon for more exclusive stuff, as you can see right here. I'm about to end the stream. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the gift. Appreciate that. And guys are way too big? Nah. This is my version. This could be a combination of Hornet and your Forker from Spy X Family. I don't know if I showed you guys that yet. There's two versions, two drawings in one. I like to imagine it's your Forker behind the mask. I've been seeing people doing their own renditions of it. Yeah, if you like to see it, feel free to follow and like and subscribe. Links right here in the bio. Alright, but I'm gonna show the your. Where's my line art layer? Line art layer. Where is it? There we go. Oh, it's just kind of hard to see it, but she's there. Door. Behind the mask. Behind the mask. Anyways, yeah, that's it for today. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Like we see, like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys on the next stream. Bye.